When you spend enough time traveling across Oregon, you soon discover that history runs deep in many places. In southern Oregon, it runs about as deep as it can get in the deep forested canyons near Grants Pass. Hi there, Grant McComey here, your host for Travel Oregon's Grant's Getaways. And this week, we visit a piece of history that you've likely missed, pioneer history, when gold miners hit pay dirt back in the 1850s. Join me as we travel to southern Oregon's Wolf Creek Inn. The Wolf Creek Inn was made for the road weary.
Rough, real rough. Hard life, hard work, long days.
Can you imagine crossing the plains in a covered wagon and you finally hit this? My goodness, I wouldn't go any further.
Built in 1883, the Wolf Creek Inn was highlight stopover on a 12-day stagecoach ride between San Francisco and Portland.
This was built specifically for travelers on the road to stay the night, and we'll keep the light on for you.
Today, the tradition of comfort and service continues at a state park property that holds on to history.
You're staying in a park, but you don't have to use a tent.
1880s, 1890s.
Manager Mark Quiz says the door is always open, so stop in and look around.
Mary Pickford, Douglas Fairbanks' room. Mary Pickford was a movie star. She was a Canadian, and they would travel from Hollywood to Canada, always stopped here on the way up and on the way back, and always stayed in this room.
The oldest active hotel in Oregon offers 9 rooms that cater to visitors from all over the world. Guests have included celebrities who needed an escape and often found it along the nearby Rogue River. In fact, in the early days of the 20th century, anglers discovered that the Rogue's waters held big trout and offered exciting whitewater rapids. So dudes signed up for thrilling river trips that provided day-long white-knuckle adventures and the allure of big fish. At the end of the trip, the inn provided a warm meal and a soft bed. Little's changed through the decades.
Clark Gable, Carol Lombard would come here often in the 30s for several years, and this is the room they always stayed in. Robert Redford spent some time here. The fly fishing scenes of River Runs Through It were shot on the Rogue, and Robert Redford spent about 2 weeks here when they did that. Yeah.
The spacious inn has nooks and crannies worth exploring. This tiny room is where Jack London stayed while writing short stories and a novel in 1911. In those days, men and women socialized separately. The women enjoyed this parlor, complete with piano and a warming fire.
The women would be here, the men would be over on their parlor because the men are doing things the women don't want. That was the gentler sex back then. They were all done in antiques. The rooms are very much like they were, so it's like stepping back in time.
In fact, a small museum shows off photos from the bygone past that hint at a life that seems so foreign today. And yet, it's history worth exploring at another state park property just up the road.
It was never really called a town, it was a camp, a mining camp, because while they were here for a long period of time, it was always a transitorial type community.
Golden, Oregon was a booming place 150 years ago when millions of dollars in gold was dug or power washed out of the ground.
So this was the general store. It also served as the post office during the years of Golden.
Oh, I see your photos here.
Yeah, that's a picture of the inside with the storekeepers.
At Golden's peak, there were 25 buildings. Remarkably, 4 buildings remain standing today in a state park you can visit anytime.
It really is the iconic building for Golden. I think most people associate Golden with the church. Religion and family was what came first, faith and family. You walk up onto this steepled porch and you walk inside and it is stepping back in history. There's the wooden pews, there's the pulpit up in the front. The glass is historical glass, so it's got the wavy. Everything about it makes you feel like you are stepping into it. Golden days of Golden. You get to come and have a sense of what it was. So we would hope that people would feel comfortable walking around and looking at the facilities and appreciate that they're having an opportunity to see a piece of history and want to share and retain that value for future people to come out. It really gives you that sense of history and place.
Back at the Wolf Creek Inn, There's always a place for you at the dining table where delicious meals are served throughout the day. And then stroll across 3 acres of landscaped grounds, complete with a historic orchard.
And it has fruit trees. Part of the history of homesteading was you put down your roots, which meant usually you put an orchard in, which was the simplest and easiest. Apple trees here that are over 130 years old. There's a whole group of pear trees, 3, 4 varieties that are 130 years old.
This is a state park. This belongs to everyone in Oregon. This is their inn. This is their park. And that's what we try to bring to it.
That's what we like, to preserve the inn and the history that it has.
Both the Golden State Heritage Site and Wolf Creek Inn State Park are living legacies with Oregon's pioneer past, and visitors are welcome to drop in. We provided all the details and directions as well as the contact information right here on the Travel Oregon website, so check it out. Until next week, for Travel Oregon, I'm Grant McComey.